Girbaud jeans had the 90s in a headlock. They were everywhere. Hip-hop artists, fashion kids, mall culture. Then they disappeared. When that 90s nostalgia wave hit in 2015 to 2020, we saw brands like Tommy Hilfiger, Champion, and even FUBU make a resurgence. But noticeably absent was Girbaud. I sincerely think they missed $1 billion comeback, and that is billion with a B. Here's what happened. Okay, so when millennials started hitting their peak earning years around 2015, nostalgia started to become a huge market driver. Brands like Champion partnered with Supreme and Urban Outfitters. Tommy Hilfiger started doing runway shows celebrating 90s heritage, and FUBU relaunched strategically. Shout out Damon John. These brands all understood something very critical, and that nostalgia isn't just automatic. It requires intentional reactivation and modern execution. Girbaud had the heritage, but they didn't show up to claim it. Here's where Girbaud's absence became just absolutely painful. They have signature design elements that millennials and Gen X actually remember. That shuttle loop closure system, the oversized fit, the brands associated with hip-hop culture. But while their competitors were partnering up with streetwear brands and placing product with influencers, Girbaud was silent. No Instagram presence, no collaborations, no reissues. The brand that defined 90s denim let other 90s denim brands tell the story. I mean, who can forget those little white strips on the zipper flies? It's like whenever you were younger, you saw that and you're like, oh, those are badass jeans. That person must be rich. It's like $80 jeans. So the market was literally screaming for Girbaud's return. Vintage Girbaud jeans were also selling on resale platforms like Depop and Grailed for like $200 to $400 each. Urban Outfitters had entire vintage sections, and PacSun was also bringing back 90s brands. The infrastructure for a Girbaud comeback existed. The brand just never activated it. Meanwhile, their DNA was being copied by all of these fast fashion brands who understood the cultural moment, but Girbaud just never seemed to understand their own legacy. Then Gen Z started discovering 90s fashion through TikTok and Instagram, which created a whole entire second boom of nostalgia around 2020. And this was Girbaud's last chance because Gen Z was hunting down vintage pieces, trying to find these baggy silhouettes, and essentially celebrating the exact era that Girbaud dominated. Brands like Dickies and Carhartt, who weren't even really fashion brands at the time, even cashed in on this entire nostalgia wave. But Girbaud, an actual 90s fashion icon, was completely invisible. And the psychology there is brutal. When you miss your nostalgia window, you don't just lose sales. You lose an entire generation's awareness of your existence. This is a painful lesson for Girbaud about strategy because heritage isn't enough. You have to actively claim your moment when culture brings it back. And those successful 90s comebacks followed a specific playbook. First, they reactivated through strategic collaborations with brands that had actual cultural cachet. Second, they used social media and influencers to reintroduce that heritage to the younger audiences that never got to live through it. And third, they moved fast when those nostalgia windows open up. They didn't take 5 years. Girbaud had the heritage, the design innovation, and the cultural credibility, but they never showed up. Now the 90s nostalgia wave is kind of past, and an entire generation is going to think that Girbaud is just another forgotten brand. Sometimes the most valuable asset isn't your history, it's knowing when to resurrect it.